Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour, brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, everybody. Hopefully you had a great 4th of July. I had a bit of a mishap. I am too old for bar fights, especially on Independence Day. The other guy was built like a brick patio in my own yard. No, it was not a bar fight. A lawn chair reached out and tripped me. Left knee, hip, shoulder, most especially wrist, took the brunt of it. No, I had not been drinking. The irony being I was getting up to greet our first guest and then have my first drink. Nothing broken, but plenty of bruises, and a week later, still feeling it. But the interesting thing is that when people see the wrist brace and ask what happened, no one believes the bar fight. Trying to decide if I should be insulted or thankful. I do know what I'm always thankful for, though. That would be great local arts and entertainment conversations. Later in the show, we learn about a new theater company, Theater Lab, with its founder Nancy Tapken and director of their upcoming play Other Desert Cities, Jesse Jensen. In just a few minutes, singer-songwriter Trish Darell makes her first appearance here. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. Whatever you're drinking and whatever you're drinking it out of might very well be determined by where and when you're listening. My choice, a Jasper Newton, Jack Daniels Diet Coke with a lime. For you, be it a cup of coffee, spot of tea, glass of milk, bottle of water, mug of beer, cocktail, glass of wine, or flute of champagne. Lift it high and toast to the Sioux Falls Stage Awards. They take place at the Washington Pavilion tonight. Several previous guests on this show are nominated in a variety of categories. Now, every one of them is worthy of the award, and each is humble enough to tell you it's just an honor to be nominated. Well, cheers to you, Sioux Falls Stage Awards nominees. Break a leg. Speaking of cheers, which just happens to rhyme with beers, say cheers with the beer or your favorite cocktail at Chasers, West 12th Street and Ellis Road. Make sure you grab some food while you're at it. Join me Monday nights at 7 for Dave Holly Hour Trivia. This Monday's theme is Summer Hits. Honorable mention. What over the past week made Dave laugh, guffaw, chuckle, chortle, giggle, simply smile, or maybe even shed a tear of joy? Well, Sioux Falls now has its own jazz club, Trio Jazz Club. Owned by Ricardo and Mary Beth Tarabelsi, they brought some jazz into town when they started Our Wine. Now they've got Our Wine, they've got the Bricks, they've got Maribella's, and now, stuck in the middle between Bricks and Maribella's, is Trio Jazz. Ooh. You know, first of all, Ricardo, Mary Beth, congratulations. They happen to be two of the best hospitality business owners around. So, caught the Joel Shotwell Quartet Saturday as part of the official grand opening. Fantastic, as I knew they would be. And then afterward, my love said, you know, there was a great song that they had their own rendition of and played completely differently. And what it was an instrumental version, because it's jazz, and very slowly played What a Wonderful World. Wow. It was very moving. Let's put it that way. And I'm very moved that we have this new jazz club in town so you think I'm excited?
He's jazzed to the eyeballs. Once again, here's Dave Hawley. Crikey, mate.
By the way, Ricardo was the first to laugh in disbelief when I said I'd been at a bar fight. Later in the show, Nancy Tapken and Jesse Jensen from Theater Lab. In just a few minutes, Trish Darell on the Dave Hawley Hour. Take in the great works at Serendipity Studio and Gift Gallery in the Shriver Building. So many great works from regional artists. They offer so many ways for everyone to participate or interact with the studio as well as the artists. Friday, July 26th, 5 to 8 p.m. is the artist reception for Summertime Heat, which opens as the rotational gallery exhibit the following day, Saturday the 27th. Visit their website, serendipitystudiosd.com, for a full list of upcoming events. Serendipity Studio, located downtown Sioux Falls in the historic Shriver Building, 230 South Phillips Avenue on the second floor.
Are you an artist? Need some funding to further your art? There's a great opportunity for you through a Sioux Falls Arts Council program. The Artist Microgrant program gives away several microgrants to local artists, no matter what art discipline you're in. Unlike more traditional grants, a microgrant is very easy to apply for. Go to artssiouxfalls.org. If you haven't done so yet, create a listing on the Artist Directory, which is beneficial in its own way. Then go to the Artist Microgrants page and apply online. The process is simple. Find out more about the Sioux Falls Arts Council as well online at artssiouxfalls.org.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics. Inside Oscar's Mini Storage. Bisque, studio time, painting parties, and finished items are available. Visit TJS Ceramic Studio in Sioux Falls today.
It's the podcast that creatives in the Sioux Empire listen to so they can learn more about other creatives. It's the Dave Hawley Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. Sure enough, you know I got to say it because I wrote that contract and I stick to my words. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment here. And it's always a pleasure to welcome a new guest. And today we have such. Trish Darell, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Glad to hear that. And you're getting all set. You are going to be in one of the Bzzzline variety shows.
Yes.
And you're going to be in the one that's coming up on Friday night.
That's correct.
Yes, called Femme Fatale.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very
and
fitting.
So you are going to be performing with your band, and you have a 5-piece band?
Yes, Misty Cans and the Horny Toads.
I love it. How did that name come about?
We were at a group message chat and nobody wanted to throw out names. So we started making ridiculous ones and that one stuck to the wall. So,
you know, I love that because I'm a huge fan of old-fashioned actual brainstorming, but nobody does it anymore.
We don't have time.
Well, you know, people say, oh, let's brainstorm. And as soon as somebody mentions something, they go, no, we can't do that. It's like, that's not how brainstorming works.
No, it takes a walk usually.
Yeah.
Just like, let's go on a walk. Let's figure this out.
And you know, I even worked with a gal one time that had worked at an ad agency in Sioux City for an internship in college. And they worked backwards. They said, what's the most ridiculous thing we can come up with? And then they'd go from there.
Yeah, I don't think it's better
I
from
love
that.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a great thing. So I love the name.
Thank you.
And you are a singer. Are you also a songwriter?
I am. I'm a singer-songwriter.
Singer-songwriter. Excellent. Primarily just acoustic guitar, or what do you?
Yeah, I mean, that's usually the naked side of it. That's what you grab, and I'm more of a lyricist, so that's what I start with, and then I put chords together and figure it out.
All right. So how much of the band will be playing original music then?
We will be playing probably 80% originals and 20% covers for that particular show.
All right. What do you describe your music as?
It's very eclectic. It starts obviously very Western, very country, because that's what the naked side of an acoustic guitar is. Then you get everybody's fundamentals in there, and then you have anything from like Gothicana, Midwestern punk, folk music. It gets a little crazy.
I like
Gothicana.
Gothicana, yeah.
I had not heard that term before.
Because I think I made it up. But
I like it
test
too.
me. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, you never know. There's probably a website out there already.
There probably is.
And if not, somebody will be typing one in right
yes,
now.
Yes, taking credit for it.
Yeah.
I know they will.
Gotta. All right. So what got you into music then?
I've been playing music at a very young age. I'm autistic, and apparently that was my gift that I got.
Really?
So I started singing as young as 2 years old. My parents put me through the whole music spectrum, bringing me to talent shows and breaking down bits and pieces for like contests, stuff like that. I mean, as young as probably 10 years old, performing in bars.
Wow. And what drew you to it then?
I mean, I've always liked the rhythmic parts of music, and I've always liked what the lyrics have to say. So when you break down a song, yes, any song that you can think about, once you listen to what it's about, that's the part that sticks to me. So,
Okay.
It's always been about the words.
When did you start writing then?
I started writing during the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not all that long ago.
Not very long ago.
Yeah.
I've always played in cover bands and did what other people were already doing. And then we all got locked into our homes. So I had to figure out something to do.
So how many different bands have you been in?
Over my life, I've been in 7 different bands.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this going to be the one that sticks?
Yeah. I have a duo that I also play in, and that one's been the longest running, The Imperfect Strangers. And I made that guitarist move up here to be part of Misty Cans and the Horny Toads to do just louder versions of what I was writing.
Yeah. All right. So it gets a little wild, gets a little crazy.
Yes.
Anything else that people need to be forewarned about?
It gets a little sad. I mean, it's very real things and real issues that I believe that I'm not alone with. And that's why I like writing music. So it could bring you down, but in a good way. I think
so.
It's
Music
kind of
started as
empowering.
your outlet and continues as your outlet.
Absolutely.
Then, yeah.
Absolutely.
Is there something that you really want your music to accomplish?
I just want to share the gift, honestly. I want people to know that they're not alone with whatever they're struggling with and that they can say and stand up for what they want to believe in. I think that's important.
Yeah, very much so anymore.
Yeah.
We have to, in fact, we even have to stand up and do things together too.
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
very
And I think
much
music brings people together sometimes.
Yeah. So is there a favorite venue you have played?
Ooh, yes. I like the dirty old dive bar venues. I like it when they have a really rusty old deck outside and there's always like the one guy that's fallen over, but he loves your music, so he keeps tipping you. I love great places with good sound systems. You don't always get a great sound operator, but I've played a lot of music without a monitor that I think that I'm just used to it by now. I can do my own thing and it's fine. Sioux Falls has great venues. I played many of them. So far, I think my favorite one has been Full Circle Book Co-op. I think that one's a great little small transition. I love it.
Isn't it such a great thing? Because you grew up down in Yankton.
Yes.
I grew up over in Rock Rapids, Iowa. And so, this was the place to come to when you're finally able to drive and take a date somewhere. And back then, there wasn't much.
No.
I
remember being a kid and going across the river to a place called the Lazy D Saloon, which was kind of poppin'. But man, I think you peed down like a drain, like on the floor. No bathroom. But that's where I remember seeing music at.
With the Bushnell Garage up near Brookings. Yeah, but it's just, and I equate it. I look at things in terms of how the past 25 years really have blossomed for the arts and entertainment community in here. And it's not just big venues. People go, oh, yeah, because we got the pavilion. Well, what else? We have people that can go play at small places. They can play at coffee shops. They can display art at coffee shops. Yes. And we're very, very fortunate that we have that going on. And obviously, you just attributed that as well. So you like going to Full Circle. Great place.
Yeah.
I've seen plays in there. I've seen poetry.
Everything is there. It's wild.
Yeah. Singer-songwriter nights. Have you participated in any of those?
Absolutely. When I first moved up here, the open mic was at another venue. And then for whatever reason, they decided to move it. And I was very nervous about going to a different place because I like to be set in my ways. But yeah, after a couple open mics there, everyone's just, they're loving and they're open and everybody just gets along and understands everybody. So yeah, it's a great venue for an open mic. I think you have a good crowd for it.
Have you been to the one at Club David?
I have not made it to one at Club David. And not because I don't like going to Club David. Their remodel looks great. I played a show there. Their sound system is wonderful, but I'm usually busy on the days that they have it. I have a day job. Yeah. So I go from like Tuesday nights and I switch to Thursday nights. So it just hasn't worked out with my schedule.
Yeah. In fact, let's let people know where you happen to be. You are at Stewart Hairstyling.
I am. I'm an instructor at Stewart's.
An instructor there.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know that Maddie Gearhart?
Yes. I was just talking to Matt today. We're excited for the stage award.
Awesome. She is a dandy.
Yes. She's a good student.
Yeah. She's been on this show before, and then she's been in a variety show that I put on as well. So it's just, another great thing that comes about when we talk about this, Trish, is collaboration.
Yep.
Sure, everybody wants their piece of the pie and so forth, but we're not beating each other up.
No, I was
saying
like
you took my venue or
right. We call it co-opetition where I come from.
Co-opetition.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. See, you're just you're a wordsmith now too, aren't you?
Yeah, it comes with the territory.
Right, especially when you start writing music. So you're a lyricist first,
yes.
And then you get out the guitar. At what point are you fully through writing the song and then get the guitar?
So I like to write down all the words first, and then I get out the guitar. And then I have to make sure I record everything, because if I have to come back to it, I have to remember what the heck I was doing. And then once I'm happy and satisfied and I think everything fits and I've done my edits, I record and I send to my guitar player and I go, this is it. This is the new one. And he tells me to slow the heck down because it's too many at a time sometimes. But that's usually my strategy. I just take a creative day and just go from there. And sometimes it comes and sometimes I have to take a lot of breaks.
Have any albums out?
We are working on our first feature album
on the first
right
one,
now.
okay.
Yep.
Now, did you do any EPs prior with just on your own?
Just on our own.
Yeah.
Independent studio, just roommate status.
Yeah, because, that's the one thing that came around with COVID especially.
Yes.
People were collaborating, or what was your word again?
Oh, co-opetition.
Co-opetition,
yeah.
Okay. and they'd say, hey, you got something you could add to this?
Yep.
And then back and forth, everybody recording in their own homes.
Absolutely.
And it's fantastic.
There's so many
the way
apps out there that you can just try out. And why not? Why not give it a try?
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, you may not be the world's greatest musician.
Right.
But if you got stuff to offer, try it. It's art regardless.
Yes, absolutely.
What other art do you like?
I do like a lot of arts.
Well, you have a lot on your arms.
Yes,
I see.
Yes. We love the tattoos. We love going to local art projects that are going on. I've met wonderful artists. I've bought many paintings. I've watched theater. I've directed theater. I've acted in theater.
There's
like all
much
the things.
more to Trish Darell,
yeah.
isn't there?
Yeah, I like to call them phases of art. Find out something, try it out, and then you can say you at least
not just
did it.
words, phrases as well.
Yes.
Phases of art. Okay, we got that and so forth. But and you can take a look around. Let's see. Boom, boom.
Yep.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yep, this is exactly what my living room looks like.
Lots of local artists that we like to support.
Absolutely.
And how do people support you then? Just the gigs, or do you got merch out there, the whole works?
We have some merch. It's mostly like your simple stickers.
Yeah.
You try to find.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start
stuff,
somewhere,
yeah.
And you don't want to spend a lot of money because we are starving artists. So we have to do what we can with that. I think the best way that you can support any kind of artist, whether it's music or somebody who physically paints and draws and puts their art out there, is showing up to any of the events that they have, sharing those events, any means that you can, and word of mouth. Talk about it. I mean, most people go and they see tons of people during the day. Brag about your friends.
Yeah.
Do it.
And I know my friend Matt D says, buy their merch.
Yes.
Says,
yes. If there's a traveling band coming through, buying their merch is filling their gas tank to get to the next place.
He says, he's done pretty well on Spotify, and thousands upon thousands of downloads, and doesn't make as much money doing that as he does on selling one T-shirt.
Exactly. Somebody else always kind of gets the money first before.
It's funny how that happens, isn't it? What are some things that you're working on besides the full album then?
Working on the full album. That's been taking up not too much time, not a lot of time. I've been working on some smart art things myself. I do like to dabble in the fine arts as well. Just supporting friends, anyone that has anything coming up, whether it's like comedy or music or art or festivals. The Montrose Music Festival is coming up. Matt Flockler puts that on every year. He does a great job. And that gets people out of their living rooms and sharing their passion. And I think just getting out and supporting other people on their journey is probably one of the coolest things that I do on the side. Otherwise,
does Montrose still have that bank that they converted into a restaurant?
I don't know. This will be my first time going to Montrose this year.
Yeah. Man, they had a great place.
Yeah,
and then they
I'm
sold onion rings by either the foot or by the yard.
Oh, that's too many onion
on
rings.
A dowel. Stacked them up that way. Very, very cool.
Love it.
But that's the charm of small towns. And
yes.
Obviously you like to play something along that line, get out and about and get to different venues.
Yes, absolutely. See what's out there. Why not?
Exactly. How many other things do you have coming up beyond that in terms of the gigs that you'll be playing then?
We have Ben's Brewing Station down in Yankton on Sunday. We'll be playing at the Cottonwood later this summer, closer to like the Riverboat Daytime. We'll be playing a show at the Icon in September. Just trying to, it's hard being a new person in town and getting the music out there, but if you keep doing it, I think you're going to be just fine. All
right. So you mentioned the fact that you support comedians and so forth, too, obviously. So how did you get attached with Alicia Rain then?
I actually went to Lucky's open mic when I first kind of moved into town, too, because I was seeing, where are the open mics? Let's try to hit every single one. And that's how I met Alicia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great gal.
Yes.
She's been on several times. In fact, she was actually the 100th guest.
Oh, nice.
That was ever on this show.
Did she get a prize?
No, that was the bad part. I didn't have a lot of swag at that point. Oh, she knows the secret because when I told her that she was the 100th, she went, "Woo!"
I love it. She knew.
But she's been a pretty loyal fan ever since.
Good.
Regardless, and always loved her comedy, first of all. So who else will be in this show? Femme Fatale?
Yeah, there's 2 other comedians that are going to be performing as well. And I'm not sure how the lineup goes. And then the music thing. And I think that's kind of what she's going forth. That's what she's doing. The host, and then having 2 comedians available, and then a music segment.
Yeah.
And I believe there's 2 other shows.
I know she's got quite the schedule posted up for this
and
summer.
she is doing a great marketing game because I can't post anything on Facebook half the time unless it's a Twins win.
Yeah.
But she keeps on it and she sends it and she goes, "Hey, take a look." And once it's approved, she's going to town. So
I'm
she's
a
doing
Cubs
a good
fan,
job.
so I've only gotten to do that 40 times.
I got lucky this year.
Your twins are doing all right.
They're doing okay. Yeah.
Because my ultimate World Series is 7 games. Cubs, Twins.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And even if they all went extra innings, that'd be
just fine.
And extra cool, too.
Perfect.
So in terms of the songs that you're writing on right now, give us some ideas about what we can expect from you.
A lot of my songwriting is basically my therapy. So things that I have had to go through and deal with and how I'm still dealing with those things. So you'll hear songs that sound like they mean one thing, but if you ask me what it's about, I'm going to explain it and interpret it a little bit differently. I have a lot of artists that I think are amazing, and Tom Waits is one of my favorite influences. So when people ask, like, who would you compare yourself to? I'm a female Tom Waits. I talk about things that are hard to talk about, and I break them down very honestly.
Yeah. But you said that, the show would have some sadness to it.
Absolutely.
Because of that part, obviously. But by the same token, do you get in some deep riffs and so forth during these sad tunes?
Yes.
And you can
I always have
crank
been told
up the music
that
to it?
the sad music sounds really happy. Like, that's the happiest sad song I've ever heard. And I was like, you're welcome. So we'll confuse you a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny how that happens. Sometimes you'll hear a tune and go, man, that's great. I love that. And then you sit down and you start looking at the lyrics and go,
you're like, what?
Wow. Okay. That was an interesting situation now, wasn't it?
Yes. And I like to do that because it's okay to be sad, but looking at it in a different kaleidoscope. Yeah. You've got to turn it around a little bit and know that something better is waiting.
Let's talk about that aspect of how art can help when it comes to mental health.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we're starting to get to the point that there's way too many of it yet, but hopefully we're getting to the point that people will understand that mental health is health.
Yes.
And there's so many things, and hopefully we can all get together sometime and do some huge benefit for mental health.
It'd be wonderful.
That would be a great thing, and I would love to be in on that.
Absolutely.
And if I'm the one that puts it together, I'd love for you to be in on it.
I would love to be a part of it. I think it's very important.
Yeah, it is. And, I tell people, especially because I have done some stand-up, nothing compared to what Alicia does, but enough to know what it takes and what it's like. And you will find a great thread going through all comics.
Absolutely.
Got some sadness in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing to do is turn it around and try to make it somebody else's happiness.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, true.
But it's one thing that I think artists are able to do.
True. And so you look at it from you want people to understand that it's okay to be sad.
Absolutely.
And so forth. So it's even a little bit different step than what a comic might have.
Right.
But, and then, of course, people that paint, and they draw emotion on that. But so you said you're kind of a female John Wayne.
Yeah.
What other musical influences have you had?
Patsy Cline was a huge one. My mom listened to a lot of Patsy when I was growing up, Crystal Gale. So a lot of that old 80s country was very popular in our household. And then my dad was more of the hair band, Foreigner, 38 Special. So I got this weird eclectic music going on. The older I got, I just liked looking at things that were different, things that weren't on the radio. I know that radio is one of the most free alternative entertainments out there. I mean, once you sell ads. But the music isn't always available. And a lot of people that have wonderful music, they don't have the money to produce it.
Right.
They don't have the means necessary to get it to the person that needs to hear it. So I love that the internet exists for those reasons, because I can go on the old dinosaur YouTube and find out, new country artists that are coming out that's just not radio pop music to me. So it's nice to hear artists such as Sierra Farrell or Nick Shoulders. Bridge City Sinners is a folk band that's amazing. Amigo the Devil's amazing. And they're all artists you would never hear on the radio. So you have to go searching for them.
I'm surprised when you had mentioned, the influences that your mom had and that your dad had, that I didn't hear some Southern rock genre all of a sudden pop out.
My dad's favorite karaoke song is Slow Ride by Foghat.
Okay.
It's a little rocky, but I don't know how Southern it is.
No, not really Southern. But I was thinking, are we going to have a Leonard Skinner approach here, or 38 Special?
Yeah, the first concert my dad brought me to was Steve Miller Band. So that was a good one.
Love Steve Miller. Yeah, one of my favorites. But you're right about so many things, because the other thing that I realize as I've gotten older is some of the songs, or maybe not so much even the song, as an artist, that I didn't care for.
Yes.
And now I will hear those songs and go, that was really a great tune.
Yes.
And it's funny how that happens. And the other thing is, a dear friend of mine always says, live music is good for the soul. And I always think of that. There's another podcast that I'm on that I host, but I have the easiest job because we have a band and we record live in front of a great audience.
Love it.
And they do a lot of covers.
Okay.
But I sit there, and when I'm hearing them play it live, I get a new respect for the original song.
Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in not a good way.
Well, with them, I've been very fortunate to say always in a good way.
Great.
And I tell them often, I said, you know what? I didn't care for that song before you guys sang it.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, and that's what a great compliment
that's a great
that you can get that way. What are the compliments that you, besides something along that line? Obviously, applause is always good. But...
Oh yeah, just seeing people's energy and how people react is always amazing. You don't always get that with every venue. I mean, your crowd is always ever changing depending on what the event is. We've had crowds where it's a talking crowd. They're trying to have conversations. We're just background music. You don't really know how people react, And then you have the crowd that just like stops and looks at you and they're like, whoa, this is pretty good. That one's always probably my favorite one because it's like they're not expecting something.
Right.
And then once it happens, they're just like, all right, let's pay attention. So yeah, crowd reaction's always great. I like being told kind of the same thing, like the covers that you play, you can't tell are covers because you have your own style and way of playing them. And that is a great compliment because someone already did the work and made a great song. And now you're doing the same thing.
Making it relatable to somebody that might not have otherwise.
Absolutely. So it just opens up a new box for somebody. And I like that.
So what would be the ultimate show for you to put on?
Oh, I like working with other bands and putting on. I don't really like the summertime. I don't know if I want to sweat all day or get my equipment rained on. But just when people come together and have different types of music. We played a charity event at Biggs not too long ago, and it was for domestic violence. And the first band was us, and we were just the two-piece at that time for The Imperfect. And it's that gothic country sound. And then the next one was a jazz band. And the next one was a punk band. And then the last one was like a hardcore metal band. So it was nice just having all these different genres because the one thing they all had in common is what they love to do on stage. Yeah.
And I find that so often because I will look at people when they're performing. Yeah, obviously, I'm loving listening to what they're doing.
Yes.
But I look at it and I see joy.
Yes.
When you can see somebody that's just completely in their passion at that moment, it's a beautiful thing to witness.
And it's rewarding for the artist. Yeah. It's the one time where you feel normal and you feel like you're doing your part. And then once you break down and you go home, you're on like this weird little high. And then if you don't have anything coming up for a while, if you're not creative and don't take that creative time, you could get a little slumped. So it's nice to have the energy.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So what are we looking at for a date in terms of the album?
We are down to just doing vocal tracking right now. So somebody just asked me this question and I said, you know what? I think October will be a good date. So I'm thinking it's right around the corner.
Yeah, October 10th would be perfect.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, 10/10. Be 10/10. The 250th episode of this show and the 5th anniversary of the show.
Boom. Now I have a deadline.
Yes, you do. And I know where you can release it because there's the party for that thing.
Yes.
All right. Trish Darell, it's been great to get to know you and meet you. And I look forward to hearing more from you and seeing you at a variety of venues. But there's always a new guest gets the same two questions.
Okay.
You already kind of alluded to one, and then how you answer the first question kind of determines whether number two has to be asked.
Okay.
So here we go. When you are not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Oh, I like movies. I'm a horror movie geek.
Really?
Yep. I try to watch all of them.
A favorite franchise or?
I'm an Evil Dead girl. Yep.
I'm not shocked.
That's my go-to.
Despite the smile, the laugh, and everything else, I'm not shocked.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Any other hobbies?
It's mostly just art things. I used to have this weird hobby where I drive by historic buildings and then draft them out on drafting paper to how I think that they should look inside. So sometimes I do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Oh, nothing is weird in my book. Sorry, I don't like the word weird.
I love the word weird, but only if you can really live it.
Right, for the living it part, not the people going, oh, that's weird. So what?
Right.
All right. So you are in the Bzzzline Variety Show, Femme Fatale, Friday night. And what time?
But doors will open probably around 6:30. The show begins at 7:30.
And where?
Down in the Lucky's basement.
Okay.
It's called 224.
224, Club
Yep.
224. Tickets available at the door?
I'm not sure if they're available at the door. I've only been seeing a link that you can purchase them through online, through Bzzzline.
Yeah, so go to Bzzzline.
Absolutely.
And that's with 3 Z's.
3 Z's, yep.
All right. Trish Darell, thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
your
you, Dave.
time. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffat Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
It's another Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment conversation on the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. Certainly, I have to say it. I keep telling you, I wrote it into my own contract. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. While we just had a new guest on the show, we bring back a couple of favorites from Theater Lab now. So while the guests are returning, we have a new subject to talk about. We have Nancy Tapken and Jesse Jensen. Theater Lab is the newest theater that is popping up, and it's going to be popping up probably in a few other places, not just in one. And Nancy, you started this, and then you decided that there was going to be this director for your first show, and that's going to be Other Desert Cities.
Yes.
And we'll get into all of that and so forth. And Jesse forgot to turn off his watch.
In fact, I was trying to turn it off, and I hit the other button.
That's okay. You know, that'll make the blooper reel someday.
Live radio.
So what was the crux for putting this all together then, Nancy?
Well, probably two things.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to get 10 years from now and kick myself for not doing all the things that I knew I was capable of, that I knew I wanted to. And second piece of that is my favorite theater to go see as an audience person and to perform as an actor are those dramatic straight plays. Like the grittier, the better. That's where I live. And there's not enough of that. Only speaking for myself, there's not enough of that here for me. And there are people who do it, but there's not always a part for me. So the pickings are pretty slim. So didn't want to have any regrets and wanted to do more of what I like to see.
All right. And I'm guessing just by the title, Theater Lab, that, you know, you think lab, you think experiments and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
Discover.
Right. We'll be seeing some experimental type of plays.
Well, this one's not experimental. This one's been around for a while. But like the Discover piece of it even is... It's for the actors, of course, because you also discover something about yourself, usually, when you're doing a character. But also, I think it's for the audience to make discoveries. You know, Tennessee Williams said, every life needs a witness. And that really sticks with me. So I hope people see themselves on stage and that we can be a witness for what's happening in their life in all these many different circumstances. So, like, witnessing life is sticks in my craw.
All right.
Yeah.
And you're going to start off with Other Desert Cities coming up September 12th, 13th, 14th.
Yep.
I was in a bit of a panic mode for a while because I happen to have a show that I'm doing on the 12th.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And we're going to go to the cities over the weekend. It's like, well, we're going to be able to So we'll be there on Friday the 13th, and hopefully that's not any bad luck.
No, it'll be good luck.
Not worthy
shoot,
about
I didn't
that.
know I was crossing over with you. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, don't
I was trying
worry
my
about
best
that.
not to.
Well, see, here's the thing. You try to do something in this city anymore.
Yes.
And people go, well, we can't do it that weekend because of this, blah, blah. And well, you know what? You're not going to find an open
The weekends are getting
date.
tough.
Yes, very, very, very much.
Yeah.
So you get this started now, and you decide that Jesse's going to be the director. What made you decide him? Was it the play itself that you said, Jesse would take this over? Or was it more just you wanted to have Jesse as a director regardless?
Well, the first thing that you said, for sure. But this is going to be our third time together.
Yeah.
And the 2 other shows that we have done, truthfully, I'm not just saying this because he's sitting next to me, truthfully are probably my 2 favorite shows that I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
His directing style is a match for me. It's very loose, very collaborative. So, yeah, he's just a good match for how I like to work.
Yeah, well, we hear that a lot about him.
Yeah.
When you talk to actors that have acted under his direction, they will say that, very collaborative.
It is.
And I know, Jesse, in our past conversations, it's something that you definitely always are looking for, is to make sure that the actors have say in how they act, not just here's what you're going to do, here's our blocking, stick to it. And so what's become the best part of getting involved with Nancy now for a third time? And what's the bit that we're going to enjoy the most about seeing Theater Lab?
Okay, well, not just because she's sitting right next to me. As I always say, Nancy's a pro. Like I call her a pro, and when you say, I do like to collaborate and I do like to give the actors leeway, mostly because I'm lazy. So when they're sharing their art and I'm mostly, looking at that and being an eye for them and say, that works, that doesn't work, that, that just makes the process more fun. It feels more collaborative. And, actors are artists as well. Actors are artists,
Mm-hmm.
And, the director, there's some directors who have a style that works for a certain type of theater where it's, go ahead, stand here, stand there, and don't deviate from that. And that works for certain shows, but for the kind of work that I like to do, I like surprise. I like giving bold choices. I've said that probably on this show. I'd rather in rehearsal a bad bold choice than a timid good one. So just be making choices. Always be are my ABC. Always be making choices instead of always be closing. Coffees for choices. And then what I'm looking forward to with Nancy is we kind of had conversations about this. So I don't know if this has kind of come through osmosis, but
probably a year.
Just kind of chatted about what kind of theater, and we've always said I've always said the rehearsal room is a laboratory. It's a place to experiment, and let's make discoveries. And then when that discovery moment happens, it's not unlike in laboratory. It's like the light bulb goes off, and you can't wait to share it with an audience, right? And so that's what probably I'm looking forward to the most is really living up to the moniker of Theater Lab. Yeah.
And I was very happy to see that you were the director, and very happy for you, Nancy, to see that you were putting this together. And boy, immediately I thought of Jesse, because it's like in our conversations and what he has seen in the past in Chicago and so forth. And it's like right up this guy's alley. Yeah. And, what were you looking for when you put it together? Just another chance to be on stage more, or?
That, yes, that for sure. And again, to do the kind of theater that I think we have a little bit of a vacuum of. Again, people do it. People do it. But, there's not always a part for me, as I say. So, filling that vacuum a little bit. And, just no regrets and doing cool stuff. As Brian Shipper used to say, cool shit, but I'll say cool stuff.
That's all right.
I really want to do beep. I really want to do cool stuff.
No, we don't beep on this show. Maybe an F-bomb, but...
And there's one story I'll share. I'll never forget that Jesse said, and we were doing Lombardi, I don't know. It was late in the game. It was almost dress rehearsal or almost showtime. And I did something, I have no idea what. And he said, go back to your other choice. And just like, he never says that sucks, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
He just says, make a different choice. Like, it's so like empowering. Like, I just will never forget that. Go back to a different choice was what you said. Yeah.
And that's what I always say.
Yeah.
I'll say, I like that choice. But we have time here. It's a lab. Let's experiment, make a different choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then oftentimes I'll be like, oh, let's see something else. And then I'll say, you know what? The first one was the best.
Well, and hopefully there is that the first choice is the best, because people are thinking and getting into the characters and so forth. Right. Is this the first time you've worked with this script?
This script, yeah. And it's been on a musical run here. So this is my first
straight
play that isn't in a university setting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So went from Shakespeare to Young Frank, titleless show. So Shakespeare, 2 musicals. So back to my small cast dramatic roots that I really like to sink my teeth into. Yeah.
Well, I have to admit, I already had you both to come back at some point because you're great guests and you are typically involved in something. And I had to wait a week to contact you, Nancy, because I was at a birthday party one night, and Aaron Sharp happened to be at the same birthday party. And I said, hey, you're going to come out to my show on September 12th? And he goes, I don't know, what's that? Well, I'm going to be in something. It's like, man, I didn't know anything was going on September 12th.
Yeah, very cloak and dagger. Very cloak and dagger.
And he said, well, you'll probably find out about it in a week, but I'm going to be in a play. Okay. So, and then he said...
Then he clammed up?
No, he didn't completely clam up. He says, but you didn't hear this from me. Nancy Tapken started this. I'm like, well, all right. So I'm sitting there going, well, that following week after that, because he said it would be a week, and it's like, okay, so some big announcement about it. And then I'm thinking, we'll wait until the announcement comes out, and then I'll contact you. And then the first thing you say is, well, Jesse's directing. We should have him on too. And then it comes out Jesse's directing.
Yeah.
But it was just all so much fun because it's like, okay, gotta have this scoop, but can't say anything. And then I'm talking to my love, and she says, yeah, I knew about it a couple weeks ago.
She did?
Yes. I don't know who spilled the beans to her.
Do I.
But it was just
I didn't hear that. What was that?
Yeah, so I'm talking to my wife, Carrie, and I said, Nancy, I think, is starting a new theater company and so forth. She says, oh, yeah, I know.
What the heck? We got a leak.
I know. I mean, we were working with encrypted messaging. We had a code. You had to
push the.
You had to get a cipher out.
All right,
hooking up to satellites.
I have to ask her about that.
Yeah, I guess it was just like, oh, okay, man, no scoop here for me. But I still waited, and then as soon as I saw something on Facebook, boom.
Went for it.
Yeah, let's contact. All right, so we know that Aaron is in the cast.
Yes.
Who else is in this?
Alex Thongvan.
Okay.
And Josh Allen.
Oh.
And Rose Reed.
Oh.
So most of us have worked together before in some capacity. I think only Rose maybe didn't know a couple people, but in some shape or form, most of us have worked together before.
It's about 50% of the cast of Lombardi.
Yes, it is. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, well, Jesse and I are both the
Don't want to ruin a good thing.
Chicago Cubs fans, and we would equate this to you have an all-star cast. There's no doubt about that. Cubs don't.
That's a nice tie-in with All-Star Weekend coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I figured I could get something in like that.
You've done this before.
But I refer, and I still haven't had Rose on this show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have to get her on because I refer to her as the Energizer Bunny of acting.
Yes.
We were just at the read-through
on Monday.
And I've now Rose is the one I have not worked with before, and once the voice hit the page, I was like, okay. And Nancy has been the casting director.
Good.
Nancy's done a great job as a casting director because I got my plate full with 2 shows. So I was like, Nancy, go for it. And boy, he really knocks it out of the park. Knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, there we go. Another reference. Well done. Ian Happ will go with right now. So anyway, give us a little bit about the plot of this play.
Well, I'll say one thing and then I'll let Jesse take over. One thing that I read about the show, which again I like, it's when a group of people shares a story, who has the right to that story? That's a little teaser on it. But I'll let you.
It's a show that is centrally a family drama revolving around a maybe the deepest family secret I could imagine.
Oh,
and you have a political turmoil between the generations in the family. That is a central theme, which really I think ties in with it being an election year, as Nancy has said. You have this incredible conflict between memory and truth, which is also a central theme. And then you have these great motifs of the desert, deep love set in the harsh environment of the desert around a family gathering, a Jewish family celebrating Christmas.
Perfect.
Yeah, I love it. And
so it's dramatic, of course, but it is also quite funny.
Yeah, very much a dark comedy.
Yeah. But does it also have a touch of the game telephone in it? You know how you tell one story and the other person.
In some ways,
the other person remembers it differently when they tell it.
In some ways,
yes, to that.
Yeah, in some ways, I wouldn't say it's directly telephone, but you're talking about years of this secret, kind of bubbling.
And the different ways people see the same thing, and did they have all the info? And maybe they did, maybe they didn't.
Yeah, and it's all and they're the central conceit of the plot is that Alexandria's character Brooke is writing a memoir about the family, and so it becomes a entire kind of. Who's afraid of Virginia Woolf about what was our life together.
And does she have the right to, it is her experience, so does she have the right to her experience? But when other people are involved, how far do you go?
Is their experience more valid than mine? Or are they all valid? Yeah.
And then obviously, the point that, so one person doesn't want to say anything, and the other wants to spill the beans.
And it's a family that loves each other, but the secret's tearing each other apart. And they love, and they also love. Your character says specifically, "I love to spar."
Yeah, I love to spar.
They're constantly all.
And I hate to be fair.
Honestly, if we wanted to abstractly set this in a boxing ring, we could. We could. Yeah.
Dancing around. Yeah, there's some of that language too. How you're dancing around each other.
Yeah.
Where is this play going to be held?
Axtell, the former Axtell Middle School.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's the stage like to work with?
It's a regular proscenium.
Okay.
It's a regular auditorium, seats about 300.
Nice.
Again, it does have a proscenium, but it also has stairs coming into the audience.
Yeah.
So we're playing around with.
We're looking at ways to make it very intimate.
Well, I just wondered if we'd go there and see a boxing ring.
Yeah.
That's another play.
Because what Sioux Falls is missing is really that really intimate space, and so what a lot of us are doing is wanting to do an intimate show and trying to make the current infrastructure of Sioux Falls more intimate. Where maybe someday,
I mean, the Schulte is the best example of that. Right
the
now.
Schulte would be the Zabel when it was being used.
Yeah.
The problem is Zabel, that carpet's got to go. So if anyone's listening, carpet has got to go, and it needs flexible seating, arena type seating. But something downtown with like 100 seats, 150 seats, maybe that could be even for a show that needs only like 60, 80 seats, something that's a little more flexible. That someday this kind of show would fit in that kind of space.
Yeah, because
and be perfect for a small theater company that's forming to have a low risk entry point, which would encourage more and more theater companies to pop up and try stuff. And maybe it's like throwing spaghetti at the at the wall, right? Like something will stick, and that's how community theaters, theater communities grow.
Right. Yeah.
Get but the barrier to entry is tough.
Yeah. No doubt. So, Nancy, when it comes to what the rest is going to look like after this opening show in September, how many shows planned, or is it one step at a time right now?
I am very loosey-goosey about it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect world, I'd like to do 2 a year. But if I want to be in something else that someone else is doing, so I'll say minimum 1 a year.
Okay.
Again, like I want it to be fun. I want it to be exciting. So if life doesn't fit at the moment, then I'll take a pass. If all the stars align, then I'll go for it. So 1 a year, 2 would be perfect, but who knows? I'm just trying to be really loose about it.
Oh, understandable.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, one of the things that has come up over the past couple of years is the premieres with local playwrights. Are you going to be taking submissions from local playwrights, or are you going to be looking?
Sure. I'm interested in readers theater. I'm interested in new stuff. Hopefully, if everything again stars align, we're going to be doing a talk back on the Friday after this show, because coincidentally, Jana Fitzsimmons acting 1 class at Augie. Their first assignment is monologues from the show, completely unbeknownst to me.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're hoping to have the Augie kids there and moderate a talk back.
Which in that kind of theater is also something I miss. I think we used to do that a bit in Sioux Falls. I know the Playhouse, under its old moniker, I remember when we did when I directed Of Mice and Men, I don't know what grade level reads that, maybe freshman year. I think I read it freshman year in Aberdeen Central. But we had a Thursday matinee, and we let the cast know up front that all the high schools would be bussed, that those English classes would be bussed in. And that was part of the grant. I think it was part of a grant that also that we did a talk back. And I got to give them the perspective of a director rather than an English teacher on Of Mice and Men, right? So I think there is a space for that again here. I wouldn't, Christmas Carol coming up. I know they read that. I think there's just an opportunity for something like that. I'm not saying the Playhouse has to do that. I'm just saying that kind of opportunity is there, and it gives nice engagement with the community and the school district.
And even Readers Theater, again, back to that, like, barrier to entry. Readers Theater makes that a little easier. It can be a one-off or, but you still have a fun experience.
Well, we'll talk afterward about a few things.
All righty. Something's percolating.
Yeah, a couple of things are.
Carrie already knows it.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
One of them. One of the ideas she knows about. All right.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, as a director, when you get a script and it's one you haven't worked with before, how many times do you read through it before you go, okay, this is what's underneath? When you start talking about all those subplots and so forth and the themes, are you able to pick it up on the first read through?
No.
Yeah.
And if any of my theater professors are listening, they'll know that I need to read it at least 3 times, which I did at the minimum, but I try to do 4. I do a first read just for my initial reaction. I'll do a second read to really pick out themes. I'll start circling words. I went through at the read through, with some of the techniques that the playwright's using, like when the clicking, when the clock starts ticking, where the stakes are raised, you can go over where the inciting incident happens, where the climax happens, where the resolution happens, which I didn't do on Monday, but I was stopping you guys too much. And then a third read, I usually then do my character analysis. So that's the one I approach as an actor. I don't know if I'm very big on beating down the script. Sounds violent, but it's not. It's a play has typically acts and scenes, and this one does. And then it's a very good tool for a director and actors to then break it down into smaller pieces. So then you have the French scenes. French scenes are anytime the composition changes on stage between actors. So usually if an actor leaves, it's an opportunity for the playwright just having the other characters talk about them, And
like life.
Yeah.
Yes.
That starts revealing things about that character who just left. And so that's great. That for a director, that's great play analysis. For an actor, they're looking at, okay, what am I, once that anytime we're all wear different hats when someone's in the room, right? So, if
Peacekeeper or...
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, if, your tactics change as an actor. What you want out of that scene changes once that person leaves, right? Like, that person's gone. How can I manipulate this person?
So that's another reason for choosing Jesse right there.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy the script analysis work, and he's like stellar at that.
And then underneath the French scenes are beats, and I'm very big on the beat work. Beats are important for me because I like to make sure I've touched every beat in the scene. The beats underneath the French scene, like I said, it's a smaller segment, is where I look at each beat and I want to make sure that I've touched it before it opens, in terms of, do we have a specific choices in there? And it's not as tedious as that sounds, because sometimes the first choice is working, and that beat's not necessarily sometimes there's a throwaway beat. And sometimes it's a very important beat. But especially in comedy, like you saw in title of the show, the beats have to be really sharp, because beats in comedy are easy to find, because it's set up, punchline.
But you gotta have the pace and the timing.
The pace and the timing.
Yeah.
So I just think that's very important to the analysis. And then the fourth time I read through it, I look at it in terms of what a designer is going to want to hear from me. So that sets me up then to do a director's presentation, in which I come up with a visual inspiration board, and then I go over what the genre of the play is, what the acting styles are, what the acting style and techniques work for this world and this genre, and then I start coming up with ideas for the lighting design.
Motifs.
Identify motifs are usually very easy way. If you can identify the motifs, then you can come up with some Google images that fit with those motifs, that give a designer to sink their teeth into, and then I send that presentation off to the designers, and then in a fully staffed theater, I would expect if we had hired designers to then come back with a presentation for me saying, I see what you're saying there. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'm going to take this, I remember with Lombardi, I had pictures of the Lambeau Field concourse, and I said, I like the concrete. And when we had and then Jill Clark came back with, what if we did columns? And what if we set this whole thing in like a superset with the stadium, right? And the lighting designer said, what if we use the stadium lights as like a central, part of that lighting design? So that's what happens when you have a theater that is supported with designers. Then when I still have the same process when I work for a even emerging theater or at Corson, where I say, I will always take a designer's eye. If you don't have one, at least we have it on paper. If someone comes along and wants to offer some advice, there it is. But I use the same process whether we're on a shoestring budget or if we have a $30,000 budget.
Yeah. Well, I'm so very much looking forward to seeing Theater Lab, and thankful that we will find a night to be able to go to it, and whatever comes around afterward too. But, this
Hopefully
is
something in February, but
yeah.
we'll see.
All right. Well, okay. That thing we're going to talk about, possibly.
Okay.
All right. But in the meantime, here we are on a Thursday, the 11th of July, and it's a big night in Sioux Falls, the Sioux Falls Stage Awards. Oh, anybody up for one?
Your wife will know.
Yeah. She has them all memorized. What do you mean, no? You are up
Zero
for an award.
expectations. Zero.
Okay.
The only thing I've ever won in my life, Dave, is a cakewalk. So
I won a cakewalk too.
Isn't it the best?
I loved it.
You get to choose.
I won like 3 cakes.
Wow.
What the hell?
Playing with you next time.
Anyway.
Okay, so zero expectations.
gosh,
but
no.
congratulations on
Thank
being
you.
nominated. And it's a great thing when people get that, that they are recognized by their peers.
Well,
that they do
I
a
sent
great
you a
job.
message right away, Nancy.
Yeah.
You did.
Because I'm always rooting for Nancy.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like her work being recognized because it is incredible work. Yeah.
No doubt about that. Well, both of you do incredible work, and so happy that you had some time. Being guests in the past, you answered those questions about when you're not involved in arts, entertainment, and hobbies, things along that line. Since you repeats, we have a new question this year. Nancy, what is your word for this year?
Oh, that's pretty easy. Dare.
Ooh,
Which is similar to risk.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Jesse?
Choices.
Nice.
Daring choices. All right. And glad that the two of you have made that together. All right. Thanks again. Appreciate your time. And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics, inside Oscar's mini storage. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes, special open studio nights, and completed ready-to-purchase items. Bisque, studio time, or painting parties are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in person today or email tjsceramics@gmail.com for more details.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Trish Darell and Nancy Tapken and Jesse Jensen. As always, the biggest thank you goes to each of you for listening, sharing, following, and especially downloading. Downloads are now over 18,000. I owe you 18,000 thank yous. Hey, don't forget to follow Dave Holly Hour on Facebook and Instagram. And for all 237 episodes, go online, davehollyhour.com. While you're on the site, use the search function to look up your favorite artists. If they've been on the show before, you can go back, listen anytime to those previous episodes. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to davehollyhour.com and click on the coffee cup icon. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.